Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison, with her good times never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Alison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone, hi, hello, welcome to another exciting episode of Alison Rosen is your new best friend. I'm sitting here in the pod cabin with your husband and mine, Daniel Quantz, and tragedy has befallen us. Daniel is not 100%. He is a little bit under the weather. The flu season has come for your husband and mine.
Are we sure that's what it is?
Oh, no, we're not. What do you think it is?
I have no idea.
It's some kind of virus. It's some kind of thing that took my sweet, innocent husband who didn't deserve it, and it settled into your throat, and now it's moving down your chest. You sound hoarse. You have a 99.5 fever, which is not technically a fever, but it's not.
Yeah, I don't feel feverish. I'm just like coughing up just, gnarly green mucus.
Yeah. And
But
you said you feel bad.
This has been like in my system, I'm realizing, for a couple weeks. Because a couple weeks ago, I started feeling this like, have I talked about like,
the vertigo? I don't think you have.
Some really extreme vertigo. Like I would suddenly get like the spins, like as if I was really drunk, It felt like I was drunk.
I felt like I was married to Jimmy Stewart in that movie.
I'm realizing like that feeling when you're really, really drunk, it's just vertigo. It's all it is. It's just that it's like it doesn't go away.
Right. Vertigo and plus like I should text that guy.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like I feel like alcohol does two things. It, on the one hand, impairs your judgment, but then on the other hand, it gives you vertigo. Because vertigo, it was like full on, like I was hammered. Anyway. But like the kind of hammered where you're going to throw up, that
right.
kind of hammered. And it was just like coming on just weird times. And I thought like, what the hell's going on? Because I didn't feel sick or anything. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Right. I was also like, uh-oh.
Like, am I going to have a tumor or something?
Yep.
And then I talked to my brain doctor and he was like.
You should make it clear that you're talking about a psychiatrist versus like a neurologist or brainologist.
Psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And he was like, he wanted me to quit drinking aspartame because he wanted to rule that out. I guess people have sensitivity to it.
I mean, I'm 90% aspartame and I don't struggle with that.
I don't drink that much. And I was looking at my, because I've been sort of trying to lose weight and I'm like, I wonder if some of the other things that I'm eating. And I looked at everything, and
it was just your Coke Zeros.
The Coke Zero, and I only have like one or two a day.
By the way, you're drinking one right now, but you did give it up to do the elimination thing. Yeah, when I heard him say that, when I heard you tell me that he said that, or if I tapped your phone call, I was a little bit like, really, Doug? Yeah. I doubt it, but worth a shot.
I ended up going to ENT, and he was like, "Oh," because he was like looking all up in my nose.
Yes. That is what you told me at the time, and I'm still wondering, like, did he crack open your nostril and climb in?
There's like
what
a
happened?
scope that, he puts in your nostril, and then it allows him to really, like, get all up in there.
Yeah, and he detailed your nose.
Yeah, and he was swabbing around, looking here and there, hither and thither. And he was like,
yawn.
And then he pulled it out, and it was like this orange stuff. It was like,
ew!
Yeah, and he was like...
He found orange stuff in your nose?
I think it was like orange yellow. Yeah, it was like, and he was like, but he showed it to me like,
ew.
See, as though I have any idea. Oh, yeah. Like,
what was the consistency?
I don't know. But he was like, he said that meant that I had something. I was like sick. And I'm like, that's so weird because I don't really feel sick. Although my throat was starting to feel a little bit like, a little bit raw. And then, the next couple of days started getting, and then today, last night I had just shitty sleep and I woke up and it was just like my chest is burning, and so it's fun. This is good times.
But wait, the ENT thinks that the reason you've been feeling vertigo is because of some kind of virus.
Yeah, that's something that can. So it gets up into that like part of your ear. It inflames the inner ear. It can it can cause vertigo.
I have 100 questions,
All
and
right.
they're all about this orangish yellowish thing he showed you and said "see."
Okay.
That came from your nose or your ear?
Came from the back of my sinuses.
So okay, but he accessed it via the nose.
He put on a hazmat suit. He crawled in there, and then he came out with a handful of it.
Did he yell something and then it echoed?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But you don't know if it was a liquid or a snot.
It was snot. It was mucus.
Okay. Now, do you want to also share there's something in your ear?
I guess I'm going to.
Well, why is it a secret?
It wasn't.
Good, let's talk about it.
Well, he was looking in my ear, and he said, "Oh, there's like a little. I forget what it's called. Like
A nubbin.
It's like an external something, and it's like a little thing. It's not a big deal, but it can become a big deal. Like if I don't get it removed, I guess it's like a non-cancerous thing that can behave like a tumor. It can really create a lot of damage in your ear. So he's gonna whatever I'm virus or whatever I have, whatever when this passes, then I'm gonna go back and he's gonna numb my ear, and he says it's not painful. It's like, how could that not be painful? But he's also, my ENT is like 1,000 years old, which is awesome. Like,
This is your new brand. Let's talk about this. It's your
no one cares about this shit. Okay. Let's talk about my ENT.
For the litmus test, this podcast would have ended years ago.
Okay.
Everyone is hanging on every word of this. Okay, so you went to Dr. Janice Yap, who is the dentist that Wendy Molyneux recommended, and there's a character named Janice Yap on Bob's Burgers after this woman.
She's great.
Yes. Now she put some cadaver bone in your jaw or something, and I was like, that's probably what caused it. It's the anger of this person who's like, my bones are in your body.
Yeah.
You'll feel dizzy. But she didn't. But she was like, I'm going to get you into an ENT in the building, and she fast tracked you to an ENT that day. Who happens to be 1,000 years old. Hit it, Daniel.
No, you got it. That was it. That was the story.
Well, what's the point of him being that old?
The idea of someone that old
Doing surgery when
doing
they're shaky?
surgery on something that's literally right next to my eardrum. Just, I don't know if it's the smartest move. But I don't want to be like ageist.
Well, does
it's just that he's just like very slow, but he's really smart and really nice, and he obviously really knows his shit. So like, I'm going to trust him. But, with these things, it's always hard to know in advance. Like,
Why don't you read some reviews on him?
it's like a dozen reviews of like, he destroyed my eardrum.
Right.
No, I'm sure he's fine. And his office, everyone in his office is really nice.
Well, here's what I'm hearing, if I may. Your gut is giving you pause.
No, it's not. But I think that forever, I will always second guess every decision I make with regards to doctors and shit. Because
Yeah,
it's
me
like,
too.
it's always hard. It's hard to know. I mean, I've had young doctors who fucked up, so there's no, like, you think you can predict what could go wrong, based on factors that are totally superficial. I don't know.
You could also get a second opinion. I know that whenever anyone suggests that I do that, I'm like, can I get a second opinion about the second opinion? Because that's like a real pain in the ass.
This doesn't seem like something now, is it? I mean, whatever. Maybe I will. It's just hard to get into ENTs around here. ENT is like, I feel like optometrist and ENT are the two like most in demand kind of doctors around here. They're all like, all the old people need to get into their, well, ENT makes sense because everyone's always getting viruses and shit.
Right.
And, all the oldies need the optometrist or the ophthalmologist.
And then also, I think primary doctors are impossible to get into.
Ugh, don't even get me fucking started on that shit. I had, I found a primary care doctor who got great reviews. So I was like, awesome. I needed to go in. I went in, and I never met the doctor. It was just the fucking physician's assistant, which is like, okay. And then I went in a year later, and same fucking thing. And it's like I've gone to see the doctor twice, never met her, and I'm always seeing physicians. And I'm like, is this the new way now? It's like you don't get to meet your doctor. It's just
Right.
like going into like Supercuts, and you just get whoever the fuck is there. Like I want to have a relationship with a doctor. Like I want a fucking doctor. I want someone I can call and be like, they know who I am, or at least, you know, there's some sense of who the fuck I'm talking. Who the fuck is this person? You know,
Eye doctor, professor, bitch.
like it just sucks, man. It's like our whole healthcare. It feels like everything has gotten shittier in our healthcare world. Like everything is so much more just like take a number, and you know, I don't know. Maybe it's just where we are. I mean, I feel like nowadays everyone just goes to urgent care or does the like
Teledoc.
call a doc, you know, like I don't know. That's definitely what my insurance company wants me to do is the teledoc. I don't know. Fucking sucks.
I find that Teledoc can be helpful when you basically already know what your problem is. And then you can just say, here's all my symptoms. Please write me something for a yeast infection or something like that. Or if it's just like a simple antibiotic thing. There's something yes, you were saying that you were mentioning the specialties you can't get into. And I'm trying to think, what are doctors where you call them up and they're like, yeah, when do you want to come in? We can get you in a couple days.
The touch my butthole doctors. No one wants that.
Proctologists?
Yep.
They're like, I'm free right now.
They're like, when do you want to see me? I'm free for lunch if you want to hang out.
Sometimes dermatologists.
Although gastroenterologists are probably in demand because they give colonoscopies, right? So
Right. Do you think people are demanding those?
everyone, yeah, you get to Burbank has a lot of old folks, and there's lots of colonoscopies happening.
We need to get on our colonoscopies. We need to do that after we finish the estate and we're ready to turn to fun stuff. We need to
Anything that requires like for this thing in my ear that I gotta have removed. He gave me a piece of paper. He's like, okay, for the 7 days beforehand, you can't eat any of this stuff, and it's like,
what?
It's all this stuff that could potentially thin your blood, including like protein bars and protein shakes, which is like I drink a lot of those.
Those
eat a lot of
thin
those.
your blood?
Well, that's what I asked. I was like, why? And he said, well, the problem with those is that you don't know what's in them, and a lot of them might have something that does that, like vitamin E or something. He said he had a patient who came in for it, and his blood was too thin, and it was causing a problem. And he said, was there anything on this list? And he's like, oh, I forgot I'm not supposed to have protein shakes. So it's like, I guess it matters. Although, anyway, anything that is like for the day before, you can't, do any of the things that make life worth living, then it's like, I don't know. I don't want to do it.
I also am questioning your relationship with protein bars.
Well, it's just an easy way.
Yeah, I
protein
know.
bars
I was kind of just joking.
are an easy way to get protein and enough food without getting fat and having to deal with food.
I think, so back to the doctors you can get into. Sometimes a dermatologist, if it's like a cosmetic dermatologist, sometimes they can get you in. Sometimes there's not a crazy wait. Gynecologists, forget it. You're not getting in for 18
The dermatologists will get you in because that's a fucking racket. I mean, they're making money on you.
Right.
So yeah, they'll get you in.
Not always though, but oftentimes.
Well, I find a lot of dermatologists, the good ones, they aren't taking new patients. But
right.
Whatever.
Pediatricians sometimes, but it never seems fast enough. And then I feel like my endocrinologist can usually get me in, although I'm never like, I'm having an emergency, I need to see my endocrinologist.
Yeah.
And then hematologist as well can be relatively flexible. I'm having some heartburn, now that I wanted to be the one who isn't having old people symptoms here. But let's just take a quick break that Tony will. No, you know what? Leave this in. I got to go grab a Pepsid. I'm young and nubile. I've returned. And now one last old person complaint before moving on to other kinds of complaints. Daniel.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that our children do not enunciate? They barely use consonants. I walked into the house to get my old person Pepsid, and I heard "I,"
Yeah, I.
It's just the O and the Y sound in the word mommy. And I am trained to respond to that. Like, I'll hear a tone. I'll be like, did someone say mommy? But they never say mommy. They just go,
Yeah.
And then Elliot said, this is what I finally deduced he had said. Remember when Owen stained me yesterday? It still hasn't come off. But it took so many rounds to understand that. I guess Owen got Sharpie on Elliot, and he wants to know why it's not off yet. All right, excuse me. Now, I need to talk about something. Honey, turn that frown upside down.
I'm so sorry. I'm running on fumes here.
All right, let's talk about something that happened yesterday. Do you know what I'm going to talk about?
No.
Okay. We went down to Orange County because we are in the home stretch. The last few days we're pulling stuff out of the house that we don't want to be sold, because in 1 week we hand the house over to the estate sale woman, and then she prepares it, goes through it, stages it for about 4 to 5 days, and then does the sale over the course of 2 days. And then the house goes back to us, and then we give it to the realtor and we say goodbye.
Oh, when this is over,
I know.
Can't wait for this to be over. Go ahead.
We're also going to need to get movers at a certain point.
Why?
There's a piano that needs to be moved. But all that stuff is not as hard as the rest of it unless there's no one available. So the kids did not want to go. The house is a disaster. It looks like a family of raccoons lived there. And it's not only Elliot finds it gross, but it's also just messy. And it doesn't feel like a home anymore. It feels like,
yeah, everything is all over the place.
Yeah. And there's stuff all over the floor everywhere, and it's just like, it's not pleasant. But this is sort of a stage in the going through everything process. So I couldn't find a babysitter though, so they came with us. And when they come with us, this has now happened a couple of times, and we try to sweeten the deal by like going out to dinner or doing something fun at the end. Mm-hmm. So what was fun, I took Elliot out. We had a little jaunt. We took some clothes to the upscale consignment store where they're selling oh my God. So the guy who works there he's like, is your mom just offloading? Oh, because okay. I feel like I should say he is a fabulous gay man who has complimented me extensively on my mom's items. And I could see him saying that to everyone, but I choose to believe he really thinks that she had beautiful things. And I think she would be so happy.
Had good taste.
Yeah. And this is also like going back. This is stuff from her mother as well. And it's going back to when she was like a fashion plate right out of Mad Men when her mother dressed her. So, but she did. She loved to shop, and she had a sense of designers and things like that. So anyway, he on the phone, and he's told me, how much he loves her stuff. Oh my God, why did I bring him up? Fuck. Oh yes. So I came in, and so he's never met me in person and vice versa. So he's like, oh my gosh, you're the one whose mother has all the beautiful stuff. And then he said, is she just offloading? And then I said, in
a sense,
I paused and I said, she offloaded being alive. And then he looked confused, and I said, she passed away. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. How long ago? And I said, and then he's like, how's it been? Which was so nice.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like, I don't need to talk about it, but just the acknowledgement that it might not be a super fun thing. But I felt weird about the way I said she offloaded being alive.
Why?
Because he didn't laugh.
Well, yeah. I mean, he wouldn't know how to respond to that.
Like, I almost want to say she offloaded her mortal coil, or she offloaded her corporeal. I'm glad I didn't try, because there's a lot of opportunity there. I didn't really seize upon it. But anyway, so Elliot and I went there, and then have you noticed that Elliot puts if Elliot's wearing a solid color t-shirt, it's often on backwards. Because there's this tagless trend. So I think it's confusing to him. So I'm like, your t-shirt's on backwards.
Yeah, he'll put his jammies on backwards.
Yeah. So he wanted to go into the dressing room and change it. But I realized, has he ever been in a dressing room before? These are pandemic children and everything's online now. Because he's like, Mommy. No, in public, he says, Mommy. He's like, do I just pull the curtain closed? And I said, yes. And he's like, even though there's gaps? And I'm like, yeah. So we did that. And then I showed, it's pretty close to the beach. So we drove down and I showed him the beach, which is where you had proposed to me. And he asked about that. And he wanted to go down to the beach and walk on the sand, but there just wasn't time because I didn't want to leave you there forever. And then I drove by the preschool that I'd gone to and the elementary school I'd gone to, which I think there's some argument that maybe I'm like doing a little tour and saying goodbye to these places. I don't think I was consciously doing it, but once we're done, there's not going to be a reason to go down there, except for I have a lot of friends in Costa Mesa, but there's not going to be a reason to go to Corona del Mar and Newport Beach.
Right.
However, you know what the reason is going to be? I think I am going to be tethered to this consignment shop because after 60 days, if your clothes don't sell, they offer to give them back to you. That I could see saying no to, but there are fur coats. Have I talked about the fur coats on air?
I don't know.
There are furs that my mom and her mother had, and the estate sale will sell them for like 150 to 200 each. We get 60% of that. That's nothing. The consignment shop will sell them for like 900 a piece, 400 a piece, but they don't take them until October. Or I could just donate them and get the tax write-off.
Why don't they take them till October?
Because this is not the season for furs.
Oh, so they care about the season.
Yes, the consignment shop. But the auction people, when they first went through the house, they were like, a lot of items they felt would do better at an estate sale because like fur coats people can try on. However, upon finding out how cheap they'd be priced at the estate sale, I would rather have them go to the auction. And he said he's coming on Thursday to take the stuff. And he said, I was like, would you reconsider like these things that he had said no to? And he's like, yes, I will. Like, we can go over all the smaller stuff. So I think if I can get them to take the fur coats, that'd be ideal. Yeah. If not, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do because I don't have room to, properly store 6 fur coats. This whole thing there's been a lot of lessons I've learned. One of them is use your good stuff because all the good china, all the good silverware, all the good jewelry even was just stored. It was put away. Yeah, it was like, never used. It was never appreciated.
There's so much stuff that she inherited from her parents that you can imagine she was probably like, oh yeah, I'll take that or I'll take this or that. And then you can tell they never once used it.
Right.
And you're just like, why did you take it?
The stuff that it's wrapped in is the stuff that it was the movers packed it in when she first inherited it.
It just sat there for 40 years.
But like not using the china from her parents, I understand because who knows what her relationship with that was also.
But then sell it.
Ow. Oh my God, I think I just broke my arm.
Then sell it. Like why hold on to stuff you're not going to use?
I think it's the same thing
but that's the worst reason to hold on to shit.
It's the same thing that we're seeing with a certain sibling. My mom's parents died when my mom was 32. They both died within a few weeks. It was like the sort of watershed, I think, the watershed moment in her life. There's before they died and then after they died.
Yeah.
I don't know if she was always someone who would have tended toward depression. Probably. I don't know that, that kind of event can change you on a molecular level.
Yeah.
But from what I can discern, it really did do a fucking number on her that might have lasted the rest. I mean, and so I think she had these sort of hoarding tendencies, not true. I think I mentioned that someone said to me, like actual hoarders, they'll find like dead pets among their piles of stuff, but still. And I think that the hoarding is trauma and it's grief and it's her inability to let go of things that had meaning to her. And I see that happening in a sibling as well. This like, oh my God, she once used that tape dispenser. I want that. Because every time I look at it, I'll think of her.
I understand the psychological thing that's happening when you're like not wanting to let go of stuff because it reminds, but it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's unhealthy.
Well, it's impractical. It's
unhealthy to invest things with meaning. They're just things. And you end up holding on to that shit. It's just this giant weight that you carry around with you.
So,
okay.
Oh, no, you can go ahead.
No, it's fine.
Well, so anyway, what I was going to say is that the lessons I've learned, use your good stuff, because what are you waiting for? Yeah. That's one. And another one is, and this relates to the first.
Drink your old wine. Like, appreciate those things that you have. Don't wait like you're going to sell it one day. Appreciate it now.
So this relates to the furs. Whatever you think is a great investment is most likely not a great investment. Like the things that seemingly the great investments are the actual, well, real estate is, I don't think you can go wrong with real estate as an investment.
It depends on where you're buying real estate.
Would you say though, for the most part, it's a pretty safe investment? I'm not talking about some fly-by-night thing where you're like sending money to the swampland and they're promising some kind of like incredible return. I'm talking about a legit, I'm buying a piece of property. I think
that buying real estate in a very like broad sense is a really good investment. But, I know some people that bought a house in Malibu.
Well,
and they probably lost $5-6 million.
Yes. So right. Those kind of things
ended up not being a good investment.
Notwithstanding. But I think the stock market can be a good investment, although I was raised to believe that it was just straight up gambling, like never invest more than you're prepared to lose. Which I think there's some truth in that, but at the same time, like I think a high yield bank account can be good, or is good. That's obviously good. Bonds are probably decent depending on if the government doesn't fall apart.
The stock market thing is like what they'll say is over time it's going to grow.
Right.
So yes, in the short term or whatever, but that's only based on like what has happened so far.
Right.
That what's happening now in the economy could end up being like a permanent drop in our level of productivity. And if that happens, if our economy is permanently injured by what's happening right now, then no, the stock market will not have continued to go up. So
here are some things that are a horrendous investment. Stamps. For all you young philatelists out there, do it for the enjoyment. Don't do it for the investment. Coins, though, however, still have held their value, but not stamps. Furs. I don't know if there's a lot of furriers out there. It's, it's illegal pretty much, but furs, rapid decline. Furniture, maybe a piece here or there, but certainly not anything in this house. That the second it leaves the store, loses all of its value. Most art, I think, it really depends. Like with all these things,
tricky.
There's probably a moment for it. But if you miss the moment, then you're losing a lot of your money.
Well, so like art can be, the tastes can change, or it can be like trendy. So if you buy art now that's like, and then all the people that were into that art, that generation dies, and the next generations don't like that art, and no one's buying that art, then that value has changed. So It's all a matter. And right now, I don't think people are buying a lot of art except at the very, very like high levels. I think people generally, the younger generations, I don't know if they're intimidated to go into galleries. They don't want to buy original art. Mm-hmm. So it's like they'll buy from Pottery Barn. They'll just buy some print or off of Etsy or something. I don't know where people are buying art, but they're not buying really they're not going in and buying fine art.
Right. I feel like fine art isn't even really a part of our life. Most people's where do you even get to it? It's in a museum or it's in a gallery.
I have a lot to say about it. I'm not going to bore people, but I think that part of the problem is the art world has made it that way. And they need to fix that. So it's not just the younger generations. It's kind of like easy to say that it's their problem, but I think it's also like the art world has done this to themselves.
It's similar to poetry. Like you know, Lizzie Cooperman writes poems, which I think is amazing. That she's literally the only living person I know who writes poetry and who's involved in the world of poetry. But poetry is song lyrics. But it has this rarefied feel, and I think fine art does too.
Yeah, I think that it's like, I don't know, it's taken on this idea of like, it's intimidating to people because it's like, oh, I don't know, I don't know what's good. It's a lot of money to invest, and you're just like, and it's like, they need to fix that because, when you go into a gallery, it shouldn't be like, you shouldn't feel intimidated, and it shouldn't be like, well, everything is 15,000 and up. There should be, there should be like, yeah, fine, have the 15,000, but then have some pieces there that are 300.
You know what's interesting?
Have all price points so that someone can go in and get some art.
There's usually a shitty little gallery in a hotel. Have you noticed this? Why do they put them in hotels? Like, and I'm thinking of the one in Hawaii, and I'm sorry to say shitty, but I walk in and I'm like, these are so expensive.
People must be in a state of mind to spend money. Yeah, like
who is buying this like?
But you know what?
Neon surfboard for $1,500.
A lot of people do buy their like art pieces when they're on vacation. 'Cause if you go into people's homes, and I've been in a lot of people's homes. I used to be a cat burglar.
I was gonna say, in your career as what, an intruder?
And so much of the art that you'll find is like, oh, we got that in this location or that location, and it's like, you can get art here though too.
Oh my God! Another thing that doesn't hold value, fantastically, doesn't hold value. Kachina dolls.
Well, your parents.
You purchased a Kachina doll in Santa Fe, New Mexico, in the late '80s. You lost a couple thousand.
Your parents, bless their hearts, put a lot of money into things that they thought were good investments, and I mean, almost all of it was not a good investment.
The only thing that was a good investment is the house. And that wasn't even something they put a lot of money into. That was just, it was $170,000 when they bought it or something. Yeah. I mean, and they bought it because they liked it. I'm sure they were aware this is probably a good investment, but that it wasn't like the Kachina doll, which is like, this is going to be our hot ticket.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we're lucky that we're in California. The housing market is about to fucking take a real fucking head south around this country. But I think being in California,
there's such limited inventory here.
And there's always going to be a demand for certain areas of California. Like, it's just a desirable area. If I lived in the suburbs of Phoenix, I don't know if I'd feel the same way. But what's going on?
My sister's asking me where the photo albums are. And I said in the boxes in the corner of her room marked photo albums. Is she going to get mad at me that I boxed them up? I don't know. They had to get boxed up. We'll find out.
Well, maybe she could lift a finger.
She sent a text. Okay, so anyway, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm the wrong person to talk about him. I had money in the stock market in the 90s, and in the crash in 99, I lost it all. Literally, it evaporated. It just went bye money. And I have just been very distrustful of the stock market ever since. I remember I have a friend who, he was an investment banker, worked at Lehman's and all that. And I was just like, please just try to explain to me how it's not a fucking pyramid scheme. Like, it's just, the whole thing requires everybody to agree to continue to put in money. But but someone's got to lose at some point. I don't know what's going on. You're distracted.
Yes, I am. This third row of boxes, did we do that? The ones in the front that say files?
Yeah.
We did. Okay, good.
Is that a problem?
No, it's not. I wanted to see if they're adding to this, and I didn't know if that was our work or their work. So that's why I was asking you.
They were heavy, so I didn't want to put them high.
Yes. No, I appreciate it. Give me 1 second and we're back. So at the end of the day, we went to dinner at this place on Balboa Island. Now, Owen had a bit of a runny nose all day. And Owen is not at the age yet where he can handle his own runny nose. So, and it's usually some kind of, it feels like an emergency for him. So he'll be like, Boogie, Boogie. And what was it he said the other day where I thought I completely misunderstood him. So anyway, it was a boogie emergency and Daniel was going to like wipe his nose with a napkin at the table. And I'm like, hang on, I have a tissue in my pocket. And I got the tissue out because everyone is a little runny right now. So I knew we were going to need some tissues. So I had stuffed my pockets with tissues, got it out. I handed it to you. You went to town on his nose like the doctor did with you.
Not quite, but yes.
No, but you cleaned it better than I do because oftentimes I won't get it the first time. And then you crumpled it up and you handed it to me. And I said, don't do that. I said, why? I don't want it back. And then you took a napkin off the table, wadded it up around the Kleenex, making like a Kleenex sandwich. And then you handed it to me. And you said, this is mom business.
Yep.
And I said, literally,
well, I was just giving
sighed.
you back the Kleenex. I was being polite.
I sighed and I just left it on the table. And then at a certain point, I was eating. I over-ordered. I still feel uncomfortable from the amount that I ordered. And between two plates was the snot rag just hanging out at the table, enjoying a meal with me. But here's the
Where
funny.
the hell was I supposed to put it? Like,
where am I supposed to put it?
I don't know. You're resourceful. I'm not.
The funny thing is, you know how sometimes you just get a premonition, a vision of how things are going to be, and you don't know whether to trust it or not?
Yeah.
When I handed you the tissue.
You knew you were getting it back?
Yes. I'm like, when I saw you just juicing his nose, I'm like, he's going to crumple it up and he's going to hand it back to me.
Yeah.
That's what, I don't know if you noticed how quickly I slapped that idea down, even though not successfully because I ended up with it. I don't know if you noticed. Did you notice how fast I was able to say, no, don't do that? Don't give it back to me. I think I said, don't give it back to me.
I mean, I didn't.
I mean, what self-possession and assertion.
Yeah, look at you. You're really learning.
It's because I had already practiced it in my head. Well, no, that's not true. I just knew.
But you ended up with it still.
I know. I'm saying it didn't work. But I was able to, as my therapist would say, catch it out here. Catch it out here. You know what that means, right? I don't think I do, but I imagine you do.
Cash it outside.
I got out in front of it. So anyway, yeah, it was funny how much I knew. Like, you just know the rhythms of people that you live with. I just knew, like, I can tell from the way Peter's walking that he's going to need to go outside. Or I don't know, and you're not even aware. Something about that said, that tissue is getting handed to me at the end. And I was right.
And it did. Look at you, honey. You're like a modern day Cassandra. I don't know. Is that right?
Well, she was screaming about something because there's a band called Screaming Cassandra. But what was she yelling about?
I think they were going to get invaded by the Greeks.
Oh, was
Trojans
she?
Or something,
was this like a Helen of Troy story?
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know my Greek history. I just know that
she
she
like,
was.
The Greeks are coming. The Greeks are coming.
No, she was like, something really bad is going to happen, and then no one believed her.
Oh,
and
she was
maybe she was
little.
cursed to be like able to see the future, but no one believed her. Maybe it was a monkey paw situation. Is that right? My brain is not functioning, but you know what I'm saying. Everyone understands what I'm saying, and that's the important thing.
I'm gonna look it up. Cassandra.
Like Cassandra is like, I feel like me, with regards to Trump, and like all the Trump voters being like, "Oh, shut up! He's not going to do that. Shut up!" And now he's doing it all, and it's like,
yes, you're right. She was a Trojan priestess dedicated to the god Apollo and fated by him to utter true prophecies but never to be believed. In modern usage, her name is employed as a rhetorical device to indicate a person whose accurate prophecies, generally of impending disaster, are not believed.
Yeah, like
I just want to see. She was admired by the god Apollo, who thought to win her love. According to
There's a lot of Me Too shit happening in that fucking in those
Aeschylus,
Greek gods.
she promised him her favors. Is that her vag? But after
No, it was a handy.
But after receiving the gift, she went back on her word, just like a woman.
Don't do
As
that
the
to
enraged Apollo
Ladies, don't do that.
could
to
not
Apollo.
revoke a divine power. Oh, is that a rule? Like no givebacks? No takebacks? You can't revoke a divine power. He added to it the curse. Oh, I like that. It's like, I can't.
I
I
take that
gave
away
you
now.
these boots.
Yeah.
I want them back, but I can't. So instead, you will always be walking on ice. But like better than
Or
that.
they'll always be out of style.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Thank you. That's better. In other sources, such as Hyginus and pseudo
Hyginus.
Apollodorus or Hyginus, I don't know. Cassandra broke no promises to Apollo, but rather, I don't feel like reading this anymore. But I think we get the idea. Okay, now I have to tell you another funny conversation, but I don't know if I should, but I will. Okay, so Elliot wanted to know, why can't women pee standing up?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, and I was trying to, I was like, it has to do with I didn't say the genitalia, but it has to do with like the penis versus the vagina. And with like the penis, there's, I think I started by saying if a woman tried to pee standing up, it would go everywhere. There's not like one neat external hole. And he said, oh, the vagina has holes all over.
I mean,
and I said, no, it doesn't though. There's not like, it's not like a shower head
well, you
for
got
pee.
more than we have.
Well, I don't think he meant it that way. I think he thought there were numerous pee holes. There's not, right?
It's not like a shower head.
That's what I just said. I think that's what he's envisioning.
Yes, I am aware.
I
know.
understand perfectly why he thought that, because it did seem like I was juxtaposing like men have one hole, women have a myriad of holes. But that is not how I meant it. I just meant
It's like it's the difference between pouring water out of a hose versus pouring water from a bucket. Like, or just like, one is you just dump it all.
Right.
One is like you can direct it.
right. Well, it's interesting. I don't think that the male urethra is narrower than the female urethra.
I think of the way that women pee is more like those like firefighting planes.
Yes.
Just like, it's just
Right.
like,
Yeah.
That's when you guys pee.
But is it because we have no runway? Or is our urethra wider than yours?
You just have hatch doors that just open up
Right.
down there.
Right. And
Right?
then it's like your pee goes skydiving.
That's how it is, right?
A hatch door.
It's just like two hatches and they just drop out like, and then it just
Yeah.
splashes down.
I mean, not really, but.
I don't know.
Well, here's the thing though. You really, if you're, as a woman, you could pee standing up if you're careful. But at the end, it's going to go some direction you don't want it to.
You just can't direct it.
Yeah. And then I helped him at the end. Not helped him with I did not see anything that happened. But as we were leaving the bathroom, I noticed the seat was covered in pee. And I said, oh, honey, I think you peed on the seat a little bit. We got to clean that up. And then I cleaned it up. But did you know we have a son who pees on the seat?
That's a great story.
Did you know? This is man business. Get on in there and explain to him.
Was he just in there peeing? He was going number 2, wasn't he?
No, he was just peeing.
Oh, well, I haven't noticed it before.
I think that he didn't lift the seat.
All right. What do you want me to do about it?
Have a talk with your son.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell him, Mommy is really concerned about your peeing on the seat.
No, I just said, oh, we should clean that up.
Mommy is embarrassed about how much you pee on the seat. Is that what you want me to tell him?
It's really not.
Is that really what you want me to say
It's
to
really
him?
not.
I can't believe that.
It's really not what we're talking. Can we? Okay. Now that we're in the bathroom,
Yeah.
metaphorically,
Yeah.
can we talk about something involving the toilet? Now, I don't want to make you uncomfortable.
Then don't bring up something that will make me uncomfortable. It's an easy way around this one. So easy. So easy to get what you want right now.
Well, I don't know how badly I want it is a problem.
Oh. Truth comes out. You do want to make me uncomfortable.
I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I am a professional. And I'm a professional and a Cassandra. And I see a topic that I feel like really could have legs. This could be.
What is it?
This could be something that people will relate to. Okay. There comes a time, but it's disgusting. Oh my God, my heartburn is so bad, Daniel. What is happening? There comes a time in all of our lives where you're like, oh, I just did something in the bathroom and it's going to need a little help going down.
Okay.
Now you are like, that is what a toilet brush is for.
No, that's what your towel is for. And then I rinse it off and hang it back up.
You think that is where the toilet brush steps in.
What? Okay, what do you do?
Well, we've never discussed this because I'm a lady who takes tiny feminine shits.
This is the woman who clogged my toilet when we first started seeing each other. You took such massive shits, you clogged a toilet that had never been clogged, and that toilet was 75 years old.
Well, yeah, that was not one of my.
Don't give me that shit.
That was hugely.
Don't give me that shit about shit.
I was like, there's a couple moments where I'm like, if he's gonna stop loving me, it's now, and that was one of them.
And it did. But I was in for a penny. Was it?
In for a penny, in for a pound.
There you
It
go.
only works if you're in England. So anyway, again, I only take tiny rose-shaped, rose-scented, ladylike little pips. But were I in that situation,
You do little pupes.
pubes. Did I say that? Pubes. That's what it sounds like. It goes pupe hee hee, pupe hee hee.
That's what I hear.
And that's like how I sneeze. I go.
All right.
Have you noticed the way I sneeze? Like, I just squeak.
That is your sneeze. I know it's nice.
People that squeak when they sneeze, is that real? Come
All right.
on.
So get on with it.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sneezing. Okay. Were I to find myself in that situation, I would probably get an extra chopstick, one of those, disposable chopsticks that you might.
What are you talking about?
I would go to the kitchen.
For what?
What do you use a toilet brush for?
To clean the toilet.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
Uh-oh. Are we on two different wavelengths?
I don't know. I honestly.
I thought you use a toilet brush to like break up the situation.
I don't have that problem.
I don't either. What a silly what a silly conversation this is, since I don't ever have this problem, and that's not what we're talking
Is
about.
that where our chopsticks have been going? Is that why we have no more chopsticks?
Occasionally, look, either a chopstick or a wire hanger can work great. And the best part
And then what do? Throw it away?
Yeah, so then what you do is you make sure your husband isn't home, because this is embarrassing. and then you grab a Ziploc bag.
Is it still a no-fault divorce state?
Why? Do you feel like you have a stronger case if it is fault or no?
I actually think I have cause after this. It's all being recorded.
So then you take a Ziploc bag, a big one, and then you wrap your implement in toilet paper, but you got to make sure not to touch anything. This is surgical work at this point, because there can be a drop that could be disgusting. Like, you got to really check your work.
So you're dropping loaves you can't flush.
I grew up in a house with pretty sensitive plumbing. So the worst, what you want to avoid is when you flush and then you're like, uh-oh, this water's gonna come like up and potentially out of the toilet, because then you got to dive underneath and turn off the pipe really fast.
Use the fucking plunger.
For some reason, that was never an option in my home.
The plunger forces it through.
Not poop.
If it's clogged, if it's not, if the toilet is overflowing because you get the plunger, you stick it, and then you push it through. That's what a plunger does. It unclogs the pipe.
Listen.
You're sitting there with chopsticks. The water's rising with turd water.
No.
And you're sitting there with chopsticks going. Like, do you try to do the chopsticks, like, or are you just
no, just one chopstick.
Oh.
Listen. This is why you deal with the problem.
Is that why you're so good with chopsticks, honey?
You deal with the problem before it becomes a problem. So
you don't even see if it won't break up.
Correct.
You proactively get the chopsticks. That's nasty.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, Jesus.
That's not. Would you please stop hitting the microphone on your chest?
It's too much for me.
That's not what you're missing. What I'm saying. If, as a Cassandra, I'm aware.
You're misusing this.
I know. Also, it doesn't happen to me very much anymore. It used to happen more often. It was. If we must, I feel like it was sort of a hypothyroid thing. And now I'm in a better place with that. Okay. So, and also I haven't had a normal shit since I gave birth to Owen. So it's not really a thing I deal with anymore.
You know who has healthy shits is our son, Elliot. He has the most healthy shits I've ever seen in my life.
Stinky.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. But
healthy.
Extremely light.
Like,
that kid,
that
let me tell you, that kid getting enough fiber.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just saying, if I see a situation and I want to head it off at the pass, chopstick or a wire hanger. Now, the thing about a wire hanger that's great is you have a lot of, you got a lot of room. You got a lot.
That is so nice.
So your hand is very far away from the action. And then you wrap it in toilet paper and you stick it in a Ziploc bag and then you put it in the bottom of the trash so that no one you're married to will ever know it happened.
But wouldn't it be easier to take the toilet brush, break it apart with the toilet brush, then clean off the toilet brush?
You do that. That's what I
don't do it.
What are you talking about?
I've never done that. I'm just saying that I would do that in that situation, and then I would clean the toilet brush.
How are you cleaning the toilet brush?
Well, with the clean water, you wash it off, and then if there's any kind of like cleanser around, you spritz it on there, and then maybe use that to clean the toilet bowl. Listen, you're not doing anything else with that toilet brush. That toilet brush isn't like, yeah, I also use that in the shower. Like, it has one function, and that is to clean a toilet bowl.
Yeah, but its function is not to break up feces. Unless it's stuck to the bowl. My sense from you was that you're periodically using it.
I'm not.
Okay.
I promise you I'm not.
Well, then I'm glad to know that, because the toilet brush in our bathroom, has particles on it. And I thought it was your fault.
What the hell do you think a toilet brush is for?
Cleaning a pretty clean toilet to begin with. Why is the toilet that messy?
Are you fucking serious right now?
Yes. Except that then I had to clean the kids' bathroom, and wow. But that's kind of... But I did clean 2 toilets today. And I noticed that our toilet brush... I said, Alison, don't embarrass your husband. Just throw out this brush and buy a new one. They're like $7. But then I said, no, this is a great... I have got to talk about... I need to know from other people, what are you doing? And I thought that the reason it was a little bit less than brand new looking was because you were breaking feces with it, but it seems you're not.
Mm-mm.
Well, I'm glad we talked it out. Aren't you?
Oh, I'm so glad. You know.
Do you want to divorce me?
I mean, I don't not want to.
But more so than usual.
I don't want to divorce you, honey.
But
I'm not sure I want to still be on Earth. No. No, it's fine. It's just you're weird.
Okay. Thank you. That is the question I put to the listeners. Should you find yourself in this situation, and what are we going to call this situation? We need like some.
I just find this all very
term.
unpleasant.
It is,
this conversation.
yeah. So if
it's
should
good.
you
It's
find
good that you always talk about things that are unpleasant.
listeners, should you find yourself in a similar unpleasant situation, are you the main question is, are you using the toilet brush? That I don't need to know what other things you're using. I just need to know, are you using
you got to make sure that toilet
brush
never gets used. That's the goal.
No.
Like if your toilet needs to be cleaned, do not use the toilet brush. What you want to do is some fakakta thing where you go into the kitchen and get something that's meant for something totally different. And then when you're done,
Well, you throw it out.
Wrap it like you're the anal retentive chef in like, some tinfoil and then a bag and then staple the bag.
Yes.
And then drive it out to fucking, Pomona and leave it in a parking lot where someone will shuttle it away. Like, what the fuck are you doing? That's what a toilet brush is for.
I don't think so.
It's not for cleaning the toilet.
We are talking about two different things right now.
I'm talking about cleaning the toilet.
You're talking about breaking up a situation. Breaking up a fight.
You're talking about that.
Well, I'm saying it's not for that. It's for cleaning a toilet, yes. Uncomfortably so, though, because if you can't get it spick and span after it does
I'm
its
just
duty,
saying that
you got to toss it.
It makes more sense to do it with a toilet brush and then clean the toilet brush in that situation that you're talking about than it does to sneak into the kitchen and hope nobody else goes in the bathroom in this time, find some wooden throwaway
I play the
chopsticks
Mission Impossible theme
or
while
a
I do
fucking
it.
wire hanger that no one's going to use. Like, which is easier and makes more sense?
Well, think of a brush versus like something like a
No, I
piece
understand
of wire.
that.
That's the problem. Is a brush is like, ooh, I'll catch all the bits.
Well, your poop's not like fucking a stick of concrete. You don't need to get a jackhammer. Like a brush will break it up.
For someone who doesn't use a brush to break up poop, you have a lot of insider info.
I think I'm gonna be sick again. I'm like double sick. This isn't fun for me.
Have you noticed how great Martha Stewart looks? Now, I bring this up because I said insider info, and that made me think of insider trading, and then I thought of Martha Stewart. I'm not saying anything other people haven't already said, like her plastic surgery is phenomenal, but wow. I just wonder in person if she really does look 40, like she looks in photos. What do you think she uses to deal with this situation?
I bet she uses a fucking toilet brush.
Doubt it. She probably like goes and picks a strong fern from her garden.
I couldn't give a fucking shit about Martha Stewart one way or the other.
I was trying to help you off this topic. Unfortunately, I brought it back.
There are certain celebrities where I just can't care, and she's definitely one of them.
Who are some others?
I don't know, rattle off some fucking celebrities. I don't really care.
Some
about
current celebrities: Cheryl Tiegs,
Don't
Cheryl
care.
Ladd,
Don't care.
Jacqueline Smith,
Don't care.
Farrah Fawcett,
Don't care. Did you know
Ryan O'Neal.
that Daryl Hannah is married to Neil Young? Daryl Hannah. You know who Daryl Hannah is?
Do I ever? Madison from Splash.
And you know who Neil Young is?
Do I ever?
They're married.
I didn't know that.
That's
but I knew that
crazy.
Paul Simon and Edie Brickell were at one point. I think they divorced.
They did. There was some abuse going on in that relationship.
Oh, right.
And I think it was
Her, right?
Her,
Yeah.
Or at least allegedly.
Wait, why is Daryl Hannah and Neil Young being together not more publicized?
I don't know. It's like I don't know that it's an unusual match because I don't know
Anything about either of them?
anything about her, but it certainly is. I always assumed that he was married to some old, like just
Loretta Lynn.
Just some old country type,
that's what I'm saying.
Canadian country gal. Yeah, like, but maybe that's Daryl Hannah. Like, who knows? Maybe she's got that. Like,
No, I don't think so. Now, was she with Jackson Brown and there was abuse there too?
Don't know.
Okay. Do you think Daryl Hannah is attractive? She's got a bit of a mannish face.
She was attractive.
That's what I mean. Were you like?
I mean, I wasn't like into Daryl Hannah or anything.
Were you a Daryl Fana?
Ooh. No, but she's attractive, sure.
Do you think the other one, the blonde, Uma Thurman, where do you come down on Uma?
Yeah, she's very attractive.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you see that they have like unusual faces, right?
I see that they have unusual faces, yes.
Okay.
Definitely. Like, that's what's attractive.
Is it?
I go for unusual faces.
I feel like Laura Dern has a similar sort of masculine featured face.
Yep, Laura Dern.
And you'd do Laura Dern, huh?
Would I?
Would you?
What are you talking about? Like right now? Is this on the table?
I don't know if she's into it, but I'm just saying.
I mean, she's getting up there. I don't know how old Laura Dern is. Yeah, sure.
Here's that ageism again. I'm letting you sleep. I'm not
into old Betties. Old biddies.
Which ones? Old Betties or old biddies? Old Betties would be like old surfing ladies.
Old biddies.
We went to this Mackie joint, just full Ritos, and there were bets just everywhere, and it was just got the digis and just game.
Listen, Daniel. Are you waiting for like Avril Lavigne or some young celebrity?
What are you even talking about right now?
I'm offering you some great stars of the silver screen. They're too old.
I like me a Juliette Binoche now.
Oh, I know
she's still super hot.
You're Binoche.
So there's plenty of older ladies that are still attractive. I don't think I've ever been like I was never into Laura Dern. So this is a weird question. Like, but she was definitely like when you see her circa like Blue Velvet, she was a pretty girl.
I just think that maybe you had an affair with Laura Dern, and that's why you're so weird about it.
Unlike you, I don't judge people based on whether I want to do them. I judge them based on their talents and how much they like me.
I'm not judging them. I'm just asking. These are three women who are unconventionally beautiful.
You don't think,
and I just want to know what you think.
Actresses are worthwhile if they aren't fuckable. That was
one of my famous quotes when I was a studio head.
That was literally
Yes.
You coined that.
I did. I am responsible for the casting couch. Some of my behavior led to Me Too, and no remorse. It's just it's how things wake up. You can't handle the truth about how Hollywood works, is what I always say. Listen, it's that time. We need to go repair our marriage or clean the house a little bit, but probably actually do neither because we'll get sucked into like printing something for Owen or I don't know. So I also am slightly concerned that I did not take Owen's lunchbox out of his backpack on Friday, which means if he ate everything, there's just some nasty crumbs. And if he didn't, there's a whole nasty sandwich in there. So I have got my work cut out for me. I would like to thank everyone for listening. And I'd like to remind you I'm on Patreon. Patreon.com/Alison Rosen and Substack. AlisonRosen.substack.com. Daniel, anything?
Mm-mm.
Please weigh in on the toilet brush question and related questions. Okay. Thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen Show?